in Rio Plus 20, we tried so much, but we got so little at the end, because other things we consider more important for us, the ones who will make the decisions. So I think on gender issues in all its diversity of issues we've been talking and listening today, we need to be, yesterday I was mentioning, relating on one hand how Nelson Mandela looked at the attitude toward things, but remember this Rimbaud poet that he said that you always have to have a burning patience. That means not to be patient, not to stop being outraged. What needs to be, we need to feel outrage about, but needs to understand we need to be working very strongly, and we'll have to continue doing it every day of our lives, because women had never got anything for free, and we will continue conquering and combating and struggling for our rights. But you asked me, my friend, how do you do that? Let me tell you something. Probably my predecessor would have approved the traditional concept. I come from a traditional family, but I have been for so many years the head of the family. So for me it's obvious, it has been obvious that you can never speak about one single type of families. In my country, there are many kinds of families. Men and women, monoparental, men or women, single, same-sex families, etc. So how do you make that reality is taken as an important thing by the one who makes decisions? I cannot give you the answer. I just think we need to speak out loud about the things. People need to continue organizing, and I'm completely convinced of what somebody just said. Women's organizations, NGOs, social civil society need support, because government has some role to do. And sometimes, because of different reasons, political mainly, cultural sometimes, or economic, they can't go further. So we need the civil society to also, from bottoms up, push the government, so they can move the line, if I may say. But we really need you. We really need you, because sometimes you will have a president or prime minister in those cases that is willing to do, because it's in its bones, it's in its reality, and really believe it. But some others need to be pushed, need to be incentivized, in my say. So please continue doing what you can do, because I know that the world needs you, and the women of the world needs you in all our diversity. Men also, and of course, when you say engage men is essential. One of my frustrations as a women executive director, that I went over the world and there were only women first, when we talk about it, and second, only women that were convinced about it. And that happens to me now when I'm president of the Republic and I go to a place where everybody loves me, and I said, I don't want this kind of act where everybody there thinks the same as me, because when I want to convince people who don't think like me, that we need to do a fiscal reform, or we need to do an educational reform. So don't make me think that we're all the same. Let's go to the people who think differently, who don't agree on what I'm saying. So, and I think that's a job we need all to do together. Just one last thing about violence against women. Of course, violence against women need a political will, need budget, need shelters, need judicial systems that works accordingly to it. We need to work with the health sector, with the judicial sector, and with the police forces, so they're really sensitive about this, and sensitive being caring about the women, but also doing what they have to do. Making the perpetrators, receive what they need to receive. But also, I think, we need to think in a different way. And what made me think of that, and even though when I went to Germany, something that isn't there. But speaking with women who were victims of trafficking for sexual, as for sexual trade, like I said, they said that usually all kinds of programs are very short, just some months, some years. So we are not doing almost anything on secondary prevention with the kids that were victims of violence, or they were witness violence, or the death of one of their parents. And these women, that they were victims of human trafficking, they were telling me they needed years of work, of intervention, of support, to really be able to stand up again after 15, 70 years of being held like slaves and being trafficked by others. So I think of violence, we need to think big, we need to think long term and not only short term, because otherwise we will be helping, and of course we need to do all the other things, engage men and so on, but we need to change the way we're doing things, because we're not doing it right. Thank you very much.